Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, and today we're going to review Kensei Sacred Fist, a fighting game developed by Konami Computer Entertainment Tokyo and released by Konami in 1998. This copy is actually from 1999. Now, I don't have any personal memories with this game, but I remember when Kensei came out, I thought the cover art was quite cool, and also some classmates of mine were playing it and they were really into it. And I also remember seeing many kids playing it in the local video game clubs. But I've never played it, to be honest. I was playing Tekken and Mortal Kombat at the time. But recently I got a bit curious, to try it, and so I just got it from a retro gaming market here in London. And so here we are. Let's start with the story first. Interestingly, there is no tournament mentioned anywhere in the booklet. Instead, the story revolves around a big narcotics syndicate that poses as an import company, and it's about how the fate of the game's characters is connected to it. Now, the syndicate is allegedly owned by Zhao Mei, who tries to recruit the best martial artists from around the world to protect him from the International Policing Federation and eliminate the syndicate's enemies. Why I said allegedly? Because Zhao is only the face of the drug syndicate and second in command to the real crime boss, Kaya Tsubaki, the son of Genya Tsubaki and the father of Saya, some of the characters from the game. It's also unclear how exactly Kaya was gathering the martial artists. As I said, there is no tournament explicitly mentioned anywhere in the booklet, and there are no character endings to give us more clues. The story is a bit vague, to be honest, and I personally prefer it to be more clear and a bit more unique, as the whole evil corporation reminds me of Tekken, Virtua Fighter and many other fighting games. Moving on to the graphics. Now, Kensei was released in 1998, but the graphics are not as good as Tekken 3, for example, or Soul Blade, or even Mortal Kombat 4, but they're not worse than any other 3D fighting games of the time. They're not as blocky as Tekken 2, I would say they're a bit smoother. But anyway, that aside, overall the graphics are not bad. I'm a 5th gen 3D graphics addict and gourmand, so personally I love the graphics. In terms of design, Kensei is very much like Virtua Fighter and Tekken. It's a very Japanese anime stylized game. I like that the characters have different costumes, alternative colors and stuff like that. We have from tuxedos and casual clothes to traditional kung fu clothes and Japanese kimonos. I think all of that add good variety to the visuals of the game. And I also like some of the stage designs. I like the green stage, West Town, the falls, the dock. I think those are very cool stages visually. But one thing you'll notice is that Kensei is heavily influenced by the Tekken and the Virtua Fighter games. You will see visual elements from both of those games, So the design of Kensei is kinda cool, but the identity is not strong enough to stand out. Moving on to the sound, and the first thing you'll notice is that the announcer sounds like he was brought from a 16-bit console or something, from Super Nintendo or Sega Mega Drive. As if there was a whole pillow in front of his mouth during the recording sessions. And I can't understand anything he says. And so compared to other fighting games of the time, this is a bit of a disappointment to me. The music is kind of cool, I would say. It does create that 80s and 90s martial arts movie vibe, but it's just the tracks are not memorable enough. I don't remember a single melody or riff from the soundtrack of the game, And it doesn't help that the overall sound production is kind of a poor quality. The mixing and mastering could have used some extra work, I would say. Up next, the gameplay, and let's start with the roster first. So you start with 9 characters in the beginning, and as you play the game, you unlock more of them. And the unlock system is identical to Tekken 2. And so the complete roster is 22 characters, which is really cool, I would say. The characters that I enjoyed playing as the most are Yugo, Genya, Hyoma, and Saya. A funny thing is that Douglas is basically Steven Seagal, from the design, the moves and everything. And I remember his movies were quite popular back then, especially amongst male adults. But kids like me would still prefer Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Van Damme, of course. Let's talk about the fighting mechanics. Personally, I found Kensei to be very easy to pick up and play with any character. You can easily win matches with just random button mashing, There are some characters, like Saya, that can execute big combos with only one button mashing, which is ridiculous. Now, while the characters have different moves, I didn't feel much difference like in Tekken 3, for example, where you really feel the difference in gameplay from character to character. I mean, Mortal Kombat 4 characters also have like same moves, but the special moves make the characters and the playstyle really distinguishable. And so I didn't really feel that in Kensei, you know? And maybe it's because there are no visually strong signature moves to separate the characters. In terms of controls, we have the kick, the punch, the throw, and the block button. So the controls are closer to Virtua Fighter and Soul Blade rather than Tekken, I would say. And combining those buttons with directional buttons, you get different types of attacks and combos. The characters can move in full 3D, doing side steps and stuff like that, very much like the Soul Calibur games. But there is no real jumping, apart from a couple of jumping attacks for specific characters. The character movement is very stiff, you know, very much like Tekken 2 or Virtua Fighter, you know. And here's an issue that I have. I don't really feel the impact of the attacks in this game. Like, it's as if the characters are hollow or something, you know. And I have a similar issue with Virtua Fighter 2 as well. And I think the sound design plays a major role in this. I think it's very important to find the right sound for the punches and the strong attacks and stuff like that, you know, which Kensei doesn't have, unfortunately. Overall, the gameplay can feel a bit uncomfortable sometimes, and it's just not fun enough compared to the competitors of the time. The modes in Kensei are similar to Tekken, like you have the survival, time, VS, and so on. There is a watch mode where you can select characters and watch them fight on autopilot, and there is also an extra mode where you choose a character and the character is running like in the Olympics, you know. It has like a racing format or something. I mean, it's kind of cool, I guess. It breaks the monotony of a fighting game, but it doesn't really offer anything fun, really. So Kensei is not a bad game, but if you play it and you remember the top fighting games of the time, then you realize why this game didn't succeed and got forgotten in time. Like, Kensei didn't stand a chance in front of the global earthquake that Tekken 3 was. The biggest letdown to me is that, just like in Virtua Fighter, there are no ending cutscenes in Kensei. And cutscenes were a thing back then, and I think in general cutscenes are very important for fighting games because they expand the lore, you know, they help you immerse into the world of that game, and they make the completion feel rewarding and satisfying. And so the absence of cutscenes in Kensei just shows how rushed this game was. Kensei Sacred Fist is like Konami's rushed attempt to capitalize on Namco's Tekken 3 by copying Sega's Virtua Fighter, and the result is mediocre. When you set yourself up to compete against established titles like Tekken, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, you know, games with really strong identities, you better offer something unique that will help you stand out in the market, like what Soul Blade did, for example, by adding weapons, choosing a different time period for the story, which of course automatically made it look and feel different, and also allowed for different style of music composition that, you know, added to its identity. So personally, I enjoyed playing Kensei today, but then again, I'm a retro gaming nerd, and seeing it through the lens of, shall we say, nostalgia, kind of helped me to appreciate certain aspects of this game. To me, it's like a true 1998 gourmet title, but had I played it back then, when it was released, I wouldn't be that excited about it, which I wasn't actually, that's why I didn't play it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, check out my channel for more, and until next time.